Hello again and welcome to the Alfira Dutton Rally Victoria. 3 days of motorsport fun coming your way, folks. A full field, some 84 drivers, around 18 Porsches and around 12 BMWs and a host of others. A couple of V8 supercar drivers as well. And of course, Mark O'Connor and myself, Daniel Gibson, back in the seat in the XR8. Let's see how we go. Let's catch up with all the action, day one from Shepparton Airport. With such a big field of some 88 cars, the group had to be split in two. The first group would travel to Shepparton Airport, while the other group would head to Decker, the Driver Education Training Centre in Shep. But before the day had even begun, car 4 of Anthony Moss and Tim Poulton got itself bogged. The pristine Porsche looking more like a country car. The car had to be towed out and Tim, well, he had to go and wash his hands before he could continue. Once again, a diverse range of cars had assembled for this year's Dutton Rally. There was plenty of Porsches, a bevy of Bimmers, and a multitude of Minis. But there was also some fairly interesting cars in this year's field. There was a Porsche 550 Spider, the ever-popular Robnell Cobra, and even a 1965 Ford Mustang. Mind you, there's not too much standard on this GT. It's basically a full-blown race car with a Hollinger gearbox, big race brakes and plenty of mumbo, I can tell you. Let's go on board now and have a listen as it heads down the Shepparton runway. You can tell that this is the car owner's son that was driving. He was on the rev limiter the whole way down. He's clearly not the one paying the bill. A sea of familiar faces had again turned up for this year's event. The car show's Glenn Ridge, racing identity Peter Fitzgerald, even motorcycle ace the Horsham Hurricane Kevin McGee was on hand to try and take the crown. Well, event one was the return sprint. Drivers had to whip down the runway and get around the hat as quickly and neatly as possible. The loose gravel, however, and change of surface was catching a few people out. The 800-metre sprint was also interesting, with some interesting results. Now, depending on the car you were driving, it obviously depended on the speed you were reaching at the end. The XR8 we travel in crossed the line doing around the 180, 190k mark. But there were plenty of others too that were doing well in excess of 220 Ks at the end of the 800-metre sprint. The other test of the day was the slalom. Pretty self-explanatory, but let's have a look at what the drivers had ahead of them. Let's check out the field now as they go through their paces throughout Shep. The airport session was ran smoothly. The only delay for the day was coming with a brief shower. That didn't dampen enthusiasm. However, it did bring out a lovely rainbow. But who would take home the pot of gold? There were still more driving tests to conquer. Well, the man who lends his name to the event, James Dutton, here we are back in Victoria.
Yeah, we are indeed for the fourth year in a row. It's fantastic to have it bigger and better again with a sold-out field. It's great. Yeah.
Now, Dutton, of course, is motoring history. We've got the dealership. Tell me about some exciting new things for the Dutton brand and the Dutton family.
Yeah, well, what we've actually got, we've got a new product that's coming out probably in about another 2 months' time, which is called Dutton Direct, and it's basically structuring wholesale cars at retail to the retail public, and also with a big shift for the new showroom, which is about a $15 million development that we're doing in South Yarra.
While all the action was taking place at the airport, there was plenty of action taking place at Decca. Now check out these guys here in the silver Holden Vectra. Yep, the family sedan with the shopping in the back, and here they come through the traffic lights and... oh dear. He's not too happy with himself. The boys were absolutely shattered. Let's go on board now and take another look as to how he saw it from the driver's seat. This incident happened on the auto test, or what's known as at Decca as the schoolyard crossing. There's a series of traffic lights and a bit of a goat track really to get around. It was a lot of fun, but you did have to be careful not to put your wheels off into the grass. Now, I got a little bit out of shape in the XR8 as we see here, but nothing like these drivers. First up, the Lamana Banana car. It's the blue Porsche. They looped it around. And not to be outdone, the HSV Maloo Ute, it did exactly the same thing. Now, the team that shall remain nameless with their incident did Melinda Price in the S60R Volvo a few favours, because if it wasn't for them knocking down that control box, Melinda would have done it with this effort.
Yes, a little bit of a moment there. Actually, lucky for me, I think someone else had earlier on in the day cleaned out the big box that was there prior to that, so I was lucky. But yeah, just got a bit excited, but the Volvo's a tough car and there's not a scratch on it.
early auto test provided plenty of action, so too did the Motorcana at Decca. Now this year it was dry. Most drivers had their tyres squealing for the whole way around.
Go!
The fastest in the early session were times around the 43 or the odd 42 second. One of those was Greg Muller, international race car driver, in car 7, the yellow Porsche. He had it on song. The next quickest was Nick Agru in car 23 with a 43.47. Peter Gazzard in the Chrysler Crossfire wasn't too far away with a 43.62. It didn't come close. The early session was won by the Evo 6 with an absolute scorcher. Well, mate, we're just killing it this weekend. How you doing?
Yeah, no, this is a fantastic weekend. The weather's holding off and the competition's great.
Well, it's one for the Porsches this weekend. There's around 18 in the field. Here's another one. How are you faring?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. I'm sort of an amateur at this, but it's the one time I get to get the car out on the track and give it a good burn, but, you know,
I suppose
I don't think I'm going to be in the winner's circle.
Oh, it's fantastic. Having an absolute ball. First time, and so far so good.
We're going okay. It's a fantastic car to drive. It's just a really lovely car. So last year we were in a Monara and this thing's just really fun. Fantastic car.
Just steadily, as I said last year, it's steadily usually wins these rallies. If you don't hit a witch's hat and you don't bugger it up, you'll be there at the end.
The other driving test at Decca was the fast-flowing back circuit, and this was one not for the faint-hearted. The organisers had set up 2 chicanes, and some drivers took those flat in either 3rd or 4th gear, depending on what car you were driving. And of course, then there was the crest. Now, the problem with the crest is that there's a blind left-hand turn. You had to be in either the centre or the left-hand side of the road to get around there as quick as possible. The really fast times were into the low 50s, but it all started with these fantastic handbrake turns. So after day one, let's go to the results now, and it looks like Ernie and Andy Fulham, the team to beat in their 1995 Evo 3. Can you believe it? There's plenty of those brand new Evo 8s and a lot of $250,000 to $400,000 Porsches, but Ernie and Andy are leading from out front.
Yes, we both enjoyed it, but you know, it's funny how the day works out, because both of us thought, oh, we haven't done well, but you know, the times proved otherwise, didn't they?
The boy wonder next year. Geez, you'll have to build a new cabinet for all that silverware you took home.
Yeah, I was surprised the hell out of me. I thought I had a pretty ordinary day, but yeah.
Well, a foggy morning greeted drivers as they gathered for a display start in Shepparton's Maud Street Mall. It was then off to Winton Motor Raceway in northeast Victoria for a full day of circuit racing. Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Alfira Dutton Rally, and of course we're situated at Winton Motor Raceway, northeast Victoria. And now with Ernie Fuller in front of the Evo 3, that may soon change. Winton Motor Raceway, home to the Porsche, it's a chance for them to stretch their legs.
Oh, we're just getting ready to go and have a spin around the track, and welcome to the playground.
Well, it wasn't long before we again realised the awesome power of the Porsche. V8 supercars normally do a lap around Winton, anywhere around that 1 minute 24 second mark. Well, Fitzy, the Carrera Cup driver, ripped around the track in his Porsche in a 1 minute 32. For a long time, Fitzy's time was one of the quickest of the day. Greg Muller in the GT3 was also quick, as too was the Pocket Rocket, firing on all cylinders. Check out the little Escort of Stephen Richards. It lapped Winton in around the 1:36 mark. The day was pretty much event-free. This little white Porsche was one of the only cars to have a moment. Luckily for him, ending up safely in the sand trap.
Got off line early in the corner, and so I was too far off the line. And next, when I went to straighten up for the little king, round the back came on me. And I was looking at the wall, like, but the sand trap caught me, so all is well.
Fortunately for me, the camera crew missed my moment in the SMS Commander XR8. So I headed into the S's, trying to catch my mate Kurt Stiles. I came in way too hot and looped it around and almost hit the tyre wall, which had the car's owner, Mark O'Connor, almost admitted to hospital suffering from severe stress.
Yeah, no, look, he's been driving really well. It was, you know, he's having a real red-hot go, and then yesterday he got a little bit excited coming through the S's at Winton, and I don't know how scared he was, but I was pretty terrified. I thought it was heading towards the flag point in the centre there, but no, he managed to miss it, so all's good again, and he's back in it, and now I'm nervous again.
From the circuit, it was over to the wet circles. The other test at Winton had drivers doing 2 laps around the wet circle as quickly as possible. for a long time, it was Glenn Ridge and Bob Edwards in front in their smart roadster. But that was before international race car driver Greg Muller came on the scene. He stole the show with the fastest time of the day and earned him yet another trophy for the mantelpiece at the presentation dinner that night. Well, this year's Alfira Dutton Rally in Victoria, there's two V8 drivers in here, Warren Luff and also Stephen Richards. Now, when you see his name on the entry list, you see S. Richards Ford Escort. But this is no ordinary Ford Escort. Let's go and have a closer look and a talk to Steve.
Yeah, well, it's basically a replica of a mid-70s works rally car. I mean, down to pretty well the last detail. So it runs a 2-litre Cosworth engine, and it's it's been my passion for about 4 years, and I finally got it round to finishing it off. Basically, we got the car back from the painters on the 12th of January, and it had to be down in Tassie for the rally on the 15th. So there was a lot of hard work by lots of different people, and Angelo Curic was involved in the build, and we had many late nights, and I think it fired up at 2 a.m. the morning it had to leave to go on the boat. So it was a big effort by everyone, but the end result is it's a fantastic car. It's lots of fun, and this rally's all about fun, and that's why we're here. Well, look, I've been around motor racing a while, and I knew about them, ever since I was a teenager, and it's just one of those things. I always wanted to build one up, to be a replica of exactly that era. And the opportunity sort of came up, and I managed to gather a few bits and pieces, and there it is.
Stephen Richards' little Escort, a lovely car, and not all the cars this weekend are of course stock standard. Check out the bonnet. It's just one of the modified bits on Darren Park's HSV.
Yeah, the engine builder decided to put another engine in for me before this rally. We wanted a bit more horsepower, and as you can see, everyone thinks we've run over an orchestra, but we didn't. We've put a 8 throttle body manifold. The problem was we only did it last week, so we didn't have time to get the other bonnet made. The guys at Custom Bodyworks were trying to get me a glass one made up, but just ran out of time. So we got the old bonnet with the angle grinder and gave it a bit of a trim, as we call it, and then it wasn't quite big enough, and we didn't bring the grinder. So it's been rubbing the trumpet, so we pulled out the big hammer on Thursday night and gave her a couple of little love taps. So that's the end of that bonnet, but the horsepower we're getting out of it now is quite good. It's really paying dividends. The boys at Sam's worked hard on it to get it done in 3 days for me. And as I said, it was quick down the straights. It's our biggest issue at the moment is my driving. I'm just driving like Miss Daisy. It's just killing me.
And this weekend is absolutely great fun. Getting to flog the hell out of the Volvo and having a bit of fun with four-wheel drive. Haven't been off-road yet, but we'll do that later tonight.
Just the real red-hot adjustments going on here.
Is that allowed? Are you doing something illegal there?
Oh, no, it's just when we do it to everyone else's car that it's going to be a problem. We'll get our car right, and then we'll make adjustments to everyone else's car to see if... we just want to see if 20 PSI works in other people's cars, that's all.
Racing has been fantastic as well. We came for that on the side. But it's been a great weekend so far, and it's going to get better, I'm sure.
Oh, look, you just have to... I drink to make people more interesting, and unfortunately I was stuck with some really dull people last night. But, no, look, it's a good event. It's a lot of fun, and I think that's the beauty of it. There's the car racing, which is on, but also there's the entertainment and the fun side of the camaraderie. See, that's what sort of night I had last night, the camaraderie.
Yeah, I think we need to promote it to more women drivers. Yeah, it is traditionally a man's sport, but I think, women would enjoy it too. There's a few out there, but there should be more.
Well, the final event on day 3 is the ever-popular SPC Motor Kana. It's held at the SPC Canneries car park, and a large crowd to turn up to watch the event, with some travelling far and wide. Whereabouts are you from?
Tasmania.
I noticed on the jackets there, the Northwest Campers and Caravanners Club. You're just tootling around. What made you come out here?
We heard it was on, and we watch it on SBS each year, and so we thought we'd come and have a look.
Well, now you're here and you're watching it. Does it live up to what you see? Is it all a bit of fun?
Better, yeah.
A pretty fast course had been laid out by the organisers, which had at least 4 handbrake turns. Sure make for some exciting action. Peter Gazzard in car 1 got the ball rolling and didn't disappoint. Next up was Kevin McGee in car 2, and who says Volvos can't go fast or get smoke coming from their tyres?
Volvo.
Well. Interesting reverse, Goo.
No good.
What happened?
All my life I was told to go forwards, and they throw a reverse thing in it. What do you do? Stall it. Double stall it.
Now, there was plenty of action on the SPC Motorcana, but James Dutton in the Mini didn't expect this sort of action, though. Coming into the garage, we all thought he was going to head home to Melbourne to the dealership. Brake pedal going all the way to the floor. Well, tyre smoking wasn't just confined to Kevin McGee and Peter Gazzard and others. Dr. Greg Keane in car 5, a lovely GT2 Porsche, put on a pretty good show for the crowd with plenty of smoke from the rear. Now, a number of drivers also went the wrong direction around the Hats, and in this rally, can incur you a time penalty of around the 10-second mark, which can cost you badly in the overall running. One man who had the track nutted out, though, was Steve. It pays to be a V8 supercar driver, Richards. Watch the power slides and handbrake turns in the little Escort. Now, I must admit I was a little nervous before my run. For a start, there's so many people watching from around the outside. But I'll let you be the judge. Here's my run in the SMS Commander XR8. After SPC, it was off to dinner at Cellar 47 in the heart of Shepparton, where an auction for the Sunnyfield Association would take place. The Sunnyfield Association support people with disabilities, and they've been doing it for some 50 years. They're the official charity of the Dutton Rally. Auctioneers and event supporters Teska Carson coordinated the auction, which ended up raising around the $10,000 mark for the charity, which Sunnyfield will put towards the purchase of a new bus for people with a disability. So at the end of day 2, the battle is still tight at the top between Ernie and Andy Fuller in the Evo 3, with a number of Porsches and STIs snapping at their heels. But not too far off are New South Wales rally winners Martin Lutaris and Simon Arthur. Boys quietly confident of sneaking into the top 3 by the end of tomorrow. It's cold, it's windy, and at times it's been wet. This is day 3, the final day of the Alfira Dutton Rally for Victoria. And due to the wet weather, the Heathcote quarter-mile drags had to be cancelled due to safety reasons. So 2 events left to wrap up the Alfira Dutton Rally Victoria. We're at the Victoria Police Driver Training Centre, and half the field's also at the Essendon Airport for a series of driving tests. The battle's still hot at the top with Evos, STIs, and of course the mighty Porsche. Who'll come out on top? Let's find out with the last day of action. The Victorian Police Driver Training Centre provided plenty of action in day 3 with 2 driving tests at hand. First, we would tackle their skid pan. For us, the course was dry and didn't provide too many problems for any competitors. There was plenty of tyre squealing though, and the odd piece of sideways action. But for the most part, drivers managed the circles without incident. The quicker times for this event were around the 17 or 18 second mark. Next was the circuit. A tricky mix of corners, some off camber, a fast straight, then into a tight handbrake turn, then a fast stop into the garage. The trick here was to straighten the road out by curb hopping. But with the wet grass, this could also be a dangerous thing to try. You could easily go from hero to zero with one wrong move. The first session here had drivers clocked at around the 39-40 second mark, which would put you at the pointy end of the field. Warren Gainsmith's GTR had plenty of attitude with Steve Glennie behind the wheel and the power to match. But he wasn't the only one to show plenty of pace through here. The other part of this run was the tight turn towards the finish. Now, most of the Porsches don't use their handbrakes around here. They're almost non-existent. They use the power of the car to flick the back around. But for the rest of us, the field had to use their handbrake. It's the best way to excite the rear, get around the hat as quickly as possible. The second session had drivers getting down in times, most drivers shaving tenths, while some managed to shave actual seconds from their first run. My first run here on the XR8 was a 40.08, while my next run was a 39.44. After getting some tips from the old stager Jeff Beeble, I managed to shave almost a second from my time. There was a number of unique cars on the rally this weekend. One of the newer cars on the rally is the Chrysler Crossfire. Two were here, one driven by Peter Gazzard and Kurt Stiles, last year's winner of this event, and Chrysler Jeep's media man Simon Johnson and the Herald Sun's James Stanford. I thought we'd take a look at the Crossfire.
A Mercedes in disguise. It's the SLK Mercedes-Benz chassis and engine and gearbox and that. But it's a good-looking car in my opinion, and most people seem to love it. But as well as that, it's got 19-inch wheels on the back, 18s on the front, little 3.2 litre V6 Merc engine. And it's just fun to drive, one of those cars that it's really cute and it's fun.
Lunch on day 3 was held at Essendon Airport, the venue for the final two events of this year's Althera Dutton Rally. A course through the car park was set up for us to tackle. It would have been tricky for the early runners, with plenty of gravel, making it fairly fun to watch. One car that found the going a little slippery was car 15. But the ABS had been disabled. Vin Macaro found that out the hard way. Look at him here, coming into the braking area. Way too hot and all crossed up, collecting the witch's hat, earning him one of two things. One, a time penalty. The other, cheers and jeers from the crowd.
Easy, Tiger.
The fast times around here, though, were around that 30-second mark. A handful of cars were under that in the 29s, most around the 30s, 32s. Now, there's no doubt about it, the Alfira Dutton Rally attracts plenty of people, but why do they keep coming back and why do they love it?
Love it.
What do you love about it?
Pure adrenaline. That ute's been going sideways all weekend. Absolutely loving it.
It's just a good fun event that you can have two drivers in the same car, and yeah, it's great fun.
Oh, good time, good friend. It's all like a family, man.
Oh, just the fun. You get to take your car out and give it a squirt on a legal basis, and all the guys, it's like a family reunion.
The variety of different events, and it's testing out the car in every aspect, and the Porsches aren't really superior in every aspect of it, but it's fun. It's really good.
I think the camaraderie of everyone. You know, you've got people from all walks of life here, from your labourer to your top executive, all different types of cars. It's really a fun event, varying skills, where any car can win, really.
I think the challenge for the drivers and the social aspect of it is fantastic. The networking, it's just really well run, and everybody seems to get along quite well, and there's no arch rivalry apart from when you're out in the circuit. Once you put your helmet on, you're out there to do a job.
Fantastic social event. Sometimes the driving gets in the road of the social life, but no, look, just great events, some fantastic events, and all really went well this weekend. They organised a fantastic job of keeping it all running smoothly. A lot of cars here, and no, they designed really good events, and no, it went well.
Well, this is the final day, of course, and we're about to head out to Essendon Airport. Now, there's a lot of stones and a lot of gravel, and it's starting to rain in parts, so this ought to be interesting, folks. I don't know what sort of time we'll do here, but it seems around that sort of 29, 30-second mark seems to be pretty quick. A few people getting a bit sideways, hitting the hats and things. Let's hope that's just not me, but it's a lot of fun. Stick around and watch the action. The rally ended quite sharply for the second crossfire at Essendon Airport. The boys hit the gutter at speed and ended up looking like breaking the suspension. Poor old car's only been registered for around 3 months and will now have a fairly costly repair bill. After Essendon Airport and the end of the rally, it was all time to head down to Melbourne's Federation Square, the scene for the presentation of this year's awards. All cars were carefully parked on the forecourt, with plenty of Melburnians coming out to have a look at the wonderful machinery. One of the great sponsors at this year's Alfira Dutton Rally is Helen's Hill. We've all had a drop of it, the 130 or 200 odd competitors and the business owners, in fact, of Helen's Hill with us. Alan, it's nice to have you here, and in fact you had a bit of a fang in the motor car as well.
Yeah, actually we have to try and sell a little bit more wine so I can actually make more money and buy a car that's a little more competitive.
Charles was telling me over the weekend, I think you boys want to come back next year in an Evo or something that might be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, Evo or STI, one of the two. Yeah, they seem to be winning all the awards. Well, it's a great event. It's a great cause. We're relatively small. We're a boutique winery. We're just getting our label going, and it's just great to be associated with such a wonderful event. Sunnyfield's involved, which is a great charity and a great cause to support. So we just hope that in the future years we'll be involved and make this event even far more successful.
The presentation was held at the wine bar, and everyone was talking about their weekend. They could have gone faster, and if they only didn't hit that hat and where they'd be. But it was time to get down to the winner's circle and hand out the awards. Well, to my amazement, in the handicap section, they handed me a trophy for coming third in the co-drivers. Warren Luff was second. Warren Gainsmith in the GTR was first. The top driver outright was international race car driver Greg Muller.
Being an international racing car driver, thank you very much. I'm very, very happy.
But of course, the one they all wanted to win was the team's event. And in third, and a great effort, was the boys who won the New South Wales Dutton Rally, Martin Ataris and Simon Arthur. Followed by Tony Esplin and Nick Ellis in their wonderful Porsche, a great effort by that team. But the standout performers all weekend were the affable father-son team of Ernie and Andy Fuller. Running out winners of the Alfira Dutton Rally Victoria is the Fullers. The Evo 3 is now number one. Ernie, well done.
Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate it. It's a great rally. Really enjoyed it immensely.
Now, this boy next to you did all right, didn't he?
Look, without him, we wouldn't be here. So he did a fabulous job. And I just hope that one day someone picks him up with a Porsche or something like that. That would be nice.
Andy, how much fun was this rally, mate? Well done.
Oh, mate, every year I come back and always look forward to it. It's just, they're all lies about me coming home at 8 o'clock in the morning too. All lies.
Well, Sam, tell me about this rally, mate. Full field, of course. It was a bit of a logistical headache, but well run.
Yeah, no, we thought we'd take a couple of extra cars this year and just sort of expand the field. We sold the event out about a month ago, so it was good to have a couple of last stragglers come in. We weren't really worried about it, and we got through everything every day. It was great. It was fantastic. Good
range of cars too. I mean, we had Stephen Richards in his little Escort through to the Noble, and a whole heap of other exotics as well.
Exactly. Yeah, not dominated by anything. It was just a really great mix of fields. The class up beautifully. We had 6 people in every class, so easy spread of points, and it was really great.
And a few new events too to this year. We had the Victorian Police Driver Training Centre, and then at Essendon Airport this time as opposed to Avalon.
Absolutely, yeah. Essendon Airport, great little street stage through there. I think everyone had a ball with that. And the police were great. They lent us their driver training facility, and we did 2 tests there, and it was very successful. Really great bit of feedback.
Now this one sold out fairly quickly, so if there's people at home, and I know I've met people over the weekend that are watching this or have watched it and then enrol, we just need to get onto this ASAP if they want to be part of it, because it will sell out quickly.
Absolutely. Basically we go on sale on the 1st of January next year, so it's first in, best dressed, and it's a really good fun weekend. You should come along.
All right, it's not just the Dutton rallies we're looking forward to, of course, in January next year, the big one, I tell you, the Mount Buller Sprint.
Absolutely, we're really looking forward to that this year. At this point we've got about 50 entrants already, so we think it'll be a sellout field and a bit of a street stage through Mansfield, so something a little bit different. And the guys will be getting 8 runs up the hill, so it's a action-packed weekend, that one.
Well, that brings the Alfira Dutton Rally Victoria to a close. What an absolutely fantastic event, and a great location to finish it in Melbourne's Federation Square. Until next time, folks, it's goodbye for now.